Hey, what's up, everyone? It is Sunday, April 26th, and I wanted to make this video really quickly. This is the end of week 5, and this week I was really focusing on messaging and the communication of what I'm trying to do. Specifically, I was really spending time actually not so much focusing on the building of Chump, but more starting to build the infrastructure to be able to tell the story of Chump. I launched my Beehive, so for my own personal brand, because the idea is basically I'll have my personal brand, which is going to show the founder story, the journey, which is why you're here, which is this is what you're watching. So that has its own Instagram, that has its own Twitter. Basically, I have the socials for my own personal brand, which I'm now basically relaunching. I'm completely starting from zero, which let me tell you is not easy specifically. And then I also have Chump, and Chump, what I'm going to be doing, and I'm just going to show you or tell you, Chump is going to be all street interviews. And I'm going to be down probably in Boston and New York just because those are the closest. Just talking to people about money, talking to people about their pain points with money, because I think those pain points obviously will speak, those micro pain points will speak to macro pain points that people are feeling. And that's basically what I want to do. I also think street interviews, if done well and if edited well, can be really interesting kind of scroll stopping footage. So it has like the scroll stopping nature, and then also it'll it'll show you things that like resonate with you, because whenever I see a street interview on anything, and if it's something that I'm interested in, whether it's sport, culture, or music, somebody will say something and I'll be like, you know what, I felt that way too. It's interesting you've said that because I felt that way too. And that is what I'm essentially hoping to create with the street interviews with Chump. And the street interviews with Chump are going to be showing like the individual and the micro, because really Chump is going to be a retail product. Ideally, there could be a company that wants to buy it for all of their employees, but even then, it will be executed on the individual level. It's an individual retail product. And for my own account for this, I want to show basically the behind the scenes of how I'm building it, how I'm building a one person company, and how I'm using AI to do that. And I think one of the most fascinating things is that you have to be able to communicate what you're doing, or right now, what you're doing almost doesn't matter. There are people on the internet that are doing actually, I think, less interesting things than me building Chump, but I think they're better at storytelling than I am right now at telling the story of building Chump. I don't think that this is necessarily going to, have 1,000 million views on YouTube. There are people that are like selling watermelon on the side of the road, but their editing and the way their storytelling is better. So I hope to become a better storyteller throughout the process of doing these weekly videos, of doing as much content as I'm starting to do. So on my own channel, or on this channel, I guess I should say, the non-Chump channel, I've really started to on Instagram post almost every day. I'll post some of those short forms here over on YouTube, but on YouTube I want it to be some of the short form on what I'm building and some of the ideas I have, and then really just these weeklies. And then ideally at the end of the year, I look back and I'm like, oh my God, there's 52 case studies on how I built and where I was. This week I was also, aside from like building out, the Beehive, getting the Instagram going, writing 4 Beehive articles for my own personal to kind of like relaunch myself. I was also going through the attestation process, and I think for next week I'll probably have more to say on that. The attestation is something I have to do to be able to use Plaid, and I have to go through a government registration essentially, and that registration could take up to a month. So I'm really trying to get that done. Ideally, week 6, I'll have more information. This is the end of week 5, and like I said, I was more focusing on starting to build out some of the social infrastructure so I can start to tell the story and bring people closer to what I'm trying to do, not just with Chump, but as myself and my own journey from quitting my job to now trying to build a company by myself with AI as someone who's non-technical. I'm not a coder in 2026. I think is an interesting one, and it's one that hopefully resonates with people. So I wanted to just make this super quick video. This is week 5, and just talk about that, like the communication of the message is, and sometimes more important than the message, how you communicate it. And I do hope to become a better storyteller, and I'm actually going to probably have to either become a better video editor or actually farm that out. I'm thinking I'll farm that out, and then the question is, can I still say I'm a one-person company? I think I can, because I'm using like consultants, but I wouldn't then be doing everything in-house. So that's kind of an interesting question. Anyway, this is week 5. I need to stick to this. This is like the one thing I need to do every week for YouTube, for long form. And I hope that you check this out. I hope that this is interesting to you, and I hope you're having a good week. And yeah, so for week 6, I will talk more about the attestation process and how that went, because I think this is the friction behind the scenes that you have to go through as a founder. And like the friction behind the scenes is what makes the UX, right, the user experience for the final person who's going to be using Chump. That's the more friction I have in the back end will make it smoother on the front end. That's at least the way I'm thinking about it, and that's the way I tell myself, man, this sucks. I hate filling out all this paperwork. I hate having to go through these processes. I'm a guy who's coming from crypto. I hate all of these permission networks. I hate all of this red tape. I just want to build and I just want to ship. I realize if I'm going to be using a partner like Plaid, I need to be able to make sure that I'm set up to win. And I will say, with this past week, just to call it out for people, there was a hack of Vercel, and a lot of people are using Vercel who are vibe coding. I am not, and I'm thankful for that. But one of the things that's also kind of become really apparent is that I will be building the code for Chump, and then I'll be connecting it to a bunch of third-party parties who they're basically going to give me their SaaS products and their tech, and that's how I'm able to make it so light and ideally have a really good UX at the end of the day for all the retail users. But that I need their security to be top notch, because otherwise my security isn't top notch. And I realize the surface area is getting greater for potential security problems, and that's something I need to figure out. And that's also why I have to go through this attestation process, because Plaid doesn't want to play with someone who's going to use their product and have a really, high risk or high surface area for risk to happen with their product, because they don't want it to reflect poorly on them or anyone who uses their product. So all of these things, these are the ups and downs of trying to build within the financial services sector. One of the things I also did this week was I launched the Chump's LinkedIn. So if you're on LinkedIn and you want to follow Chump's LinkedIn, I'll probably leave that below in the comments, and it will be in the description. Anyways, I hope everyone has a great week this week. I will see you for week 6, and I hope to get through the attestation registration process, so that way I can start basically my month until I hear back, and hopefully I go through on the first round. So week 6 coming up, week 5 in the books. It is absolutely wild building with AI. If you want to reach out, go follow the Instagram. That's where I'm probably most active. And if you want to DM, you can ask me there. And if you want to get time on my calendar, you can actually go to GetJarrett.com and just hit up in the top right. I think there's a call to action. It's like book a call if you want to ask, because you're getting off the ground and you're starting to build. Reach out to me. Love to hear from you. Hope everyone has a great week.